Guys, the weirdest thing happened to me. I've been seeing this brand about vintage all over social media, and I saw that some of my friends started collaborating with them. I was thinking about contacting them because their watches look very attractive. But guess what? The company reached out to me first, and well, as fate would have it, I'm reviewing their 1926 automatic steel dive watch. I received a very nice gift set from them. The gift set cost $648. The watch alone cost $599. The packaging looks very clean and in line with the muted vintage aesthetic of the brand. Something interesting to note is that they sent everything in separate boxes. This is what this gift set contains: one 20mm black silicone strap with quick release, one 20mm 5-link stainless steel bracelet with quick release, the 1926 automatic steel dive watch, of course, and it comes on a 20mm black NATO. And lastly, one full grain leather watch roll with room for 3 watches. Okay, so first impressions. Wow, everything seems very well constructed, and aesthetically speaking, it's beautiful. However, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. I will get to some of those cons in a little bit. Okay, so the watch comes in this nice smoke oak box. The watch is limited edition of only 999 pieces. They also offer this model with a blue bezel, blue dial, and a rose gold case with blue bezel, blue dial. But I ended up going for this black version because, well, in my opinion, it's the most versatile. Here are 2 interesting facts about this watch. Number 1, the watch design. This watch was designed by a Danish actor, Jonathan Harbo, and in his words, he writes, "The watch became a combination of about vintage Scandinavian design and my love for the maritime." End quote. Second interesting fact is that this watch actually supports ocean cleanup. So a portion of the proceeds will be donated to a nonprofit organization by the name of the Ocean Cleanup. The organization works on developing and scaling technologies to rid the oceans of plastic. Get to the watch already, Miguel. Is the watch any good? Is it worth $600? Hey, hold your horses, Speedy Gonzalez. Before I can answer that question, let me cover some of the specs and wearability of this watch. The entire watch is constructed of 316L stainless steel, and the finishing is done very well. We find a mixture of brushing and polishing, and of course no crown guards because, well, this is a vintage inspired watch. Keeping with that theme, we have a 5.9mm screw down sign onion style crown. It's easy to grip and it really works with the overall design. The case measures in at 39mm, is 46.8mm from lug to lug. It's 13mm thick. It has a 20mm lug width. The watch on the NATO weighs in at 78 grams, and it has a water resistance of 100 meters. Protecting the dial, we find a super dome sapphire crystal. The company doesn't say if it has AR coating or not, but by the looks of it, I don't believe it does. One of the things that first caught my eye about this watch is that flat bezel and lower dial. The bezel reminds me a little bit of that Rattle Captain Cook minus a concave look. The 60-minute 120-click bezel is made out of aluminum, and the numbers and markings are printed in this gold tone that matches the color of the loom. This has to be one of the softest bezels I have ever had the opportunity to interact with. It has a very satisfying click. However, the bezel does not line up. I've seen some alignment issues with Seiko bezels, but this one is definitely noticeable. So if you have OCD, this will drive you crazy. The dial on this watch is the star of the show for me. I love sandwich dials, and this one has been executed beautifully. The indices are a mixture of circles and a triangle. The Lee style hands are filled with loom and they're highly legible. We find the company logo at 12 o'clock and the name of the company, the model name with the number 1926 printed in yellow, and the word automatic right above 6 o'clock. The overall design of the matte black dial is very elegant. The loom has been applied on the indices and hands. I don't know what type of loom they're using, but it's not bright and it fades very quickly. As most of you know, I'm a huge loom junkie, and this was a little disappointing. I know this is technically not a dive watch, but it certainly looks like one, so the loom should be at least in par with the aesthetic of the watch. The watch does have a screw down case back that features some information about the watch. It has this really cool wave, and above the wave it reads "Design in Copenhagen by" and the signature of the designer. That's a very cool touch. Powering this watch is the automatic Miyota 8215 movement that has a 42-hour power reserve, a standard deviation of -20 plus 40 seconds per day. It beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. You can wind the movement, but you can't hack it. Also, in case you're wondering, the watch does have a ghost position. That means that the movement has a date complication, but there's no date window on the watch. So when the crown is in the second position, you can feel and hear the date wheel change. I'm not a huge fan of the 8000 series Miyota movements, but for the most part, they're pretty bulletproof movements. Let's talk wearability, straps, and bracelets. For reference, I have a 6 7/8 inch wrist that's 17.46 centimeters. I'll start with the NATO. It's very comfortable, but the material does not feel premium. It's rough, but I do have to say that it's very comfortable on the wrist. It has stainless steel hardware, and the buckle has been signed. Next up, the silicone strap. This strap is very comfortable. I don't believe it's FKM, so dirt will definitely stick to it. But nonetheless, it does conform to the wrist nicely, and adding a quick release system to it was a very nice touch. It also features a signed stainless steel buckle. Lastly, my favorite pairing, the stainless steel bracelet. The bracelet has a mixture of polishing and brushing. It comes with quick release, solid links, solid end links. It uses pins to remove the links. It has a male clasp with several micro adjustment holes, the company logos engraved on the clasp, and they even threw in additional links in case you need them. This Jubilee style bracelet looks great. It's comfortable, and right out of the box, it fit. Well, I had to adjust the micro adjustments a little bit, but hey, I didn't have to remove any links. The bracelet measures in at 20 millimeters, it tapers down to 17 millimeters, and back to 20 millimeters at the clasp. Alright, we covered a lot of ground, but now it's time for those pros and cons. I'll start with the pros. The watch looks very nice, and the overall package would make for a very cool gift for yourself or a loved one. I love the environmental aspect of this watch, and I think more companies should follow suit. Okay, let's move on to the negatives. The lume is terrible. They really need to work on making the lume brighter and last longer. The bezel alignment needs to be fixed. I'm not sure if this is the case with all the watches, or I just got unlucky and got this one that was super misaligned, but unlike Seiko, I hope this issue is corrected. The movement. I personally would have preferred, honestly, an NH35, and of course, a Miyota 9000 series in this. I like having hacking capabilities, and I really don't like watches with ghost positions. Lastly, and this is a big one, the price. The watch costs almost $600. The specs do not reflect that price point. In my opinion, this watch should be priced in the $350 to $400 range. Look, I understand that it's not all about the specs of the product, and that a portion of the sale is actually contributing towards a good cost. But this is not the only watch that's overpriced. Go to their online catalog and take a look for yourself. About vintage, if you're watching this, please adjust your prices, or at least match the specs and QC to reflect the prices. You make really beautiful products. Us watch enthusiasts now more than ever are aware of the margins in the watch industry, and we know a good value when we see one. If you made it this far, thank you. Just know that your support means the world to me. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Stay safe out there. Happy holidays. And as always, my friends, stay humble.